Hey folks, do you like podcasts?
Do you have hobbies?
Well, here's the show for you.
The Hobby Shop Talk Podcast.
Featuring childhood friends
And old school noobs.
Luke and Matt.
Hello, everyone. This is Matt, and this is the Hobby Shop Talk Podcast, episode 26. And I'm here with Luke again today. Luke, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, it's been a while since we recorded again. We always seem to go like a month in between.
yeah. And I think we say all the time, too, that we're going to make this a more
Consistent recording.
on time or consistent thing. And we're going to say it again because it's Sunday, and we did say we're going to start this Sunday, and every other Sunday we're going to record and then, pick a release date during the week. So that's TBD. I don't want to say like Wednesdays or something until we know for sure, but we do hope that it's going to be more consistent because, I'm down to one job now, besides now, playing video games and stuff. So it's much easier, and I think we both have more time finally. But, what is going to take up more time is football and fantasy football.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's draft season right now, which great time of year. You got the whole season to look forward to your team doing awesome. And then, of course, halfway through the season, your team's terrible and you hate fantasy football. But right now it's new and exciting.
So how many leagues are you in?
So I haven't joined any like random free ones like I usually do. I usually like do a couple drafts of those, but I don't know if I'll do that this year. But let's count real quick. I'm in one with the brothers. Well, two with the brothers because one's the whole family and then the other's just a few of us. And then like two work ones. And then two like big expensive ones that I take serious. The other ones I don't pay too much attention, but I have one that's $100 buy-in and then another $125 buy-in. So, and those actually just did auction draft yesterday for it. And then the week before that, I did the snake draft for that one. So the other one.
So without actually telling me, are you telling me that Bree doesn't listen to this because you just actually said the monetary values of those leagues?
Yeah. She doesn't listen to it anyway, so. But yeah, I am getting to the point where I don't know. Like AJ, he just quit paying for fantasy football, so he just joins free leagues and just so much less stress on Sundays when you're pissed at your team for sucking and.
Well, I used to be in way more, and now this is actually a lot for me. I'm in 2.
Oh yeah.
Because I've been in my work leagues for the last few years, but this year I'm in a work league now again. Last year I wasn't even in a work league because, I just had the store. So I had joined, I think, just like an ESPN league. But anyways, I'm in a work league, and then I'm in an ESPN Plus league for a chance to win $250,000.
Oh, yeah.
I just signed in, and
I did that last year.
So I did that the other day, and I didn't, I don't know. I don't think I've told you about my lineup, Luke, but it's pretty good, and it kind of starts and ends with Buffalo Bills player. So if you don't mind, I'll run through my lineup here for my ESPN Plus league that nobody cares about because there's always jokes about nobody gives a crap about your fantasy football team. But if somebody's listening to this, it's still their problem if they're still listening. So first, listen to this, Luke. QB. Josh Allen. Running back, Saquon Barkley, Travis Etienne Jr., wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, Dalton Schultz, the tight end, and then flex, I have Ezekiel Elliott, Justin Tucker, and then the Bills defense. So it just worked out perfect, and then even my bench is just stacked. Somebody actually traded me for I had this Dalton Schultz. He's the top few tight ends, and then I can't recall now. I think it's the Eagles tight end, but I had another tight end just on my bench.
Goddard
And somebody
Dallas Goddard.
Yes.
Yeah. Or
I
Goddard.
I had him along with, so I had Dalton Schultz, and then I had him, which was on my bench. I was just going to use him as a flex, but somebody traded me Ezekiel Elliott, and then is it TJ Hawkinson from Detroit?
Oh, yeah.
So I ended up getting another starting running back. So I ended up trading my backup tight end for another starting running back, which, will be either starting running back or, my flex, along with another starting tight end.
So they traded you got Ezekiel Elliott?
Yeah.
For TJ
And
Hawkinson, pretty much?
Nope, I got for Dallas Goddard.
Oh,
sorry.
Goddard.
How do we pronounce his name? Yeah, I traded him, and I got in return Elliott and Hawkinson.
For one tight end.
Yes,
Wow.
my backup.
That's terrible. That's a terrible trade. Whoever did that.
Yeah, and it had to be accepted. It was like a 3-day thing,
Yeah.
Again, it's for $250,000. But no, my team is stacked. I feel it's, they actually show the projections, and before the trade, I don't know if it's 10 or 12, but I was to finish in second.
Oh, yeah.
They had it like ranked as if today.
Yeah.
And that was before that trade, so I don't know. I didn't look. But anyways, I was just excited to tell you that I have Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills defense.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills defense should be pretty solid, and obviously Josh Allen's the top quarterback going into starting the season, so. But he just always goes too high. I never draft quarterbacks that high because he was going in like the second round or third round, so.
Yeah, I got him, I think, around the fourth because I
really? He
drafted
dropped a little bit.
I was in the back end of the first. I got Justin Jefferson, I think, and Deebo Samuel, and then Saquon Barkley was right in there.
So
and
is this
Etienne Jr.
standard or PPR?
PPR?
All right.
Yep. Yeah, no, so I feel but you always start out that way. It's like the Vikings, we're like, oh, they're going to be so good this year. It's the same with my fantasy football. Like, oh, my team is stacked.
Yeah.
And then I just stop caring about 6 games in.
Yeah. Yeah, so in one of my main leagues, I can go through my team unless
Yeah, you're up.
So in this one actually I did draft Patrick Mahomes, but he fell, I think, in the 4th or 5th round, I can't remember. But so I have Patrick Mahomes, Ezekiel Elliott, and then Nick Chubb. My 2 running backs, Keenan Allen and Cooper Kupp, are my 2 wide receivers. Dawson Knox is tight end, and then my 2 flex are Damian Harris and then Antonio Gibson. Who I've heard Antonio Gibson, he was like apparently playing on the special team, so it just shows you how much the coaches don't care if he gets injured because he's going, taking special teams reps. So I drafted his backup, which is probably going to be Brian Robinson. So he might end up being the starter for that team, which plus Antonio Gibson fell a ton, so I just grabbed him. But then I got Chris Godwin on my bench, Mark Ingram, Russell Wilson is my backup quarterback, Julio Jones and Juju Smith-Schuster on my bench. So
I got him on my bench for that league.
So yeah, in that league too, I'm projected to go take second place.
Yeah,
so
it's a good place to start at least.
Yeah,
and then so I was gonna ask, and that was my initial question about how many leagues. 'Cause I'm down to 2, and I used to have like 5. But what always happened is I never got excited when somebody scored because in every league, it's like
you were playing against them, but they were on your team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's tough. That's why I probably won't be in so many leagues next year at least. Or I might. I don't know. I should probably drop one of these higher paying ones.
Is one of them a what's it called? Every year, you
keeper. It's not a debt.
Yes.
Neither of them are a dynasty, but the auction one we could keep keepers. This wasn't the auction one I did. The one I just described was the snake draft. So, which I thought the team was pretty good. And then so here's my auction one, which my keeper was Derrick Henry for $24, which is a steal, and because it's a $200 whatever pot for your salary.
Yeah.
So in that league, I got Kirk Cousins as my quarterback, which I think he'll be solid this year in that offense. Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, A.J. Brown, D.K. Metcalf, and Elijah Mitchell. So we have 3 flexes in this, and then no defense or no kickers, which is awesome because it always sucks when you play a kicker that gets you like 21 points against you. And it's like, oh, man.
Yeah, that is true. So that's your. So you get to keep how many players?
Just this one is just one. We were talking about going to a dynasty league where you just keep the whole team, but next year we'd have to redraft, everyone to start off that new clean dynasty or whatever, which I think would be kind of fun. I don't know. We'll see.
Still think at some point we'll have to have a hobby shop talk podcast. So what's funny is our awesome preparation. I'm just gonna throw it in here because I was gonna start off with hobby shop talk podcast episode 26, and it was gonna be the last episode because we're gonna have next episode, and then but I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say, Luke?
Oh, you're gonna say this is the last episode of the Hobby Shop Talk podcast. Mostly because we're just gonna change our name, so this is probably the last
to the Old School Noob podcast.
Yeah,
and I was gonna do that, and I just thought of that as we were talking. That we just talked about that in our awesome preparation.
Yeah. Yes.
So we'll see. We've said this before too, but it's gonna change the Old School Noob podcast.
Yeah, at some point. I'll have to make a new logo and stuff.
Just because it does fit the theme more that I, no longer have my in-person store and have really, have my eBay store, but, it's not really the same premise. So it is just two old school noobs, talking about games and their hobbies and things. So anyways.
Expensive hobbies.
Yes.
So now we talked about the fantasy football and the boring stuff. Let's get to the stuff people want to hear about, which is Magic the Gathering. Unfortunately, it's back to school. It's the end of summer, so I haven't had a lot of time to play games. Luke, I know you mentioned you haven't played a lot of games, correct?
Not really. I did do a draft on Dominaria United, so that was and that was on Arena, so not that cool, but.
Did you, let's talk about, did you get anything cool in that draft?
Yeah, I did. Then I'll talk about it later, but I got that King Darius. He's a white-green legendary, gives all creatures +1/+1, but I pulled him. I got Archangel of Wrath, which is a pretty cool card. And then I got the legendary uncommon token Queen. But yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit later too.
Yep. All right. Well, so Dominaria United now is, like you said, you just did a draft on Arena, and it's coming up this Friday, I think it drops. So we're just going to quickly, go through a few things. I wanted to start off. There was a cool thing that I had read that kind of talked about where, this whole storyline fits into the Magic lore. And so I figured I'm going to start out with that. And then from there, Luke and I are going to also talk about some of the cards we're looking forward to, whether we just thought they look cool or they, how maybe they'll fit in our current decks, and we'll go from there. So with that, though, I thought this was really interesting, and this is from comicsbeat.com. It's called Dominaria United Kicks Off Magic's Phyrexian War, and this was with huge spoilers, but I just wanted the first part. So it says about how 30 years ago, Magic, launched. And for the first 10 years of the game's life, the vast majority of its stories took place on the world of Dominaria, an archetypal fantasy world of legendary heroes and insidious villains. And no plane in Magic's vast multiverse has more history than Dominaria. And so it just talks about the Phyrexians, Borg-like species that marries machine and flesh, were one of Magic's very first villains. Their goal is completion, the total assimilation of all beings in the multiverse into Phyrexia. And they were once eliminated, and after years of scheming and building out the infrastructure of Phyrexia's new home, Elesh Norn, Praetor, and the new Mother of Machines is ready to expand Phyrexia's gift to the rest of the multiverse. And it said starting last year, and so this, I wasn't really paying attention to the story, but you would see glimpses of different Phyrexian Praetors and things like that in other sets. So it said that you caught glimpses of Praetors on worlds like Keldheim, New Capita, and Kamigawa performing reconnaissance and executing plans to prepare for invasion. And now with Dominaria United, at long last, the war begins. So that was just a really cool, it kind of brings that all together. And, for me, I don't pay too much attention to lore. I used to read the books and stuff, but I thought that was kind of cool and makes sense now how we've seen some of those different freighters and things in recent sets.
Yeah, it's just cool because I know we've talked about it before. You just mentioned that we've read the novels, most of them, but just that whole Urza and Mishra story, that takes place on Dominaria, and the Weatherlight saga. There was like 3 or 4 books of that all takes place on Dominaria. So yeah, a lot of cool backstory and history to it.
Yeah, and that's where the one other thing before we look at some of the cards, but this is from mtgrocks.com. It said Dominaria United introduces new cards and dead planeswalkers. I thought this was interesting. So first one was Liliana of the Veil returns. The infamous planeswalker was initially printed in MTG's Innistrad set. And it says this is the most potent form of Liliana ever printed and is one of the most powerful planeswalker cards the game has ever seen. So it's 2 black and 1 additional to come out. Legendary planeswalker. It's +1 as each player discards a card. -2, target player sacrifices a creature. And then its ultimate is -6, separate all permanents target player controls into 2 piles. That player sacrifices all permanents in the pile of their choice. That's pretty brutal there.
Yeah, her ultimate's pretty good, and even just what is it, a +1, and you got to make the person discard a card. So
yep,
yeah, if you don't,
it's each player discards a card.
Oh, so the player does too. I was like, yeah, you could get them down, especially if you got duress in your hand. Black obviously has all those stupid, I'm going to look at your hand and make you discard a card.
Yeah. So this next one, I saw this as I was looking at cards for kind of the next bit, looking at some of the cards we're excited about, but it's called the Raven Man. And before I read it, it just says the Raven Man is a character in Liliana's background that has been manipulating her since the beginning. And it said, MTG players have wanted to see this illustrious character get his own card for a long time, and now it's finally here. So it's 1 black and 1 additional. It's a human wizard. It's a 2/1. At the beginning of each end step, if a player discarded a card this turn, create a 1/1 black bird creature token with flying, and this creature can't block. Then you could tap a black and 3 and tap it. Each opponent discards a card, activate only as a sorcery. So kind of pairs with Liliana nicely.
Yeah, and what did they say his backstory was? Because I guess I don't know his thing, and I'm not one of those people that I guess wanted to see him in card form, but
yeah. So it says the Raven Man is a character from Liliana's background and has been manipulating her since the beginning.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. It said there's a good chance, I don't know what this is, it's in a different color on, again, I'm on MTG Rocks, there's a good chance that the Raven Man might actually be one of the scariest foes MTG has ever seen. But yeah, it talks about how they work so well together. And then the other thing I wanted to read, just because you mentioned the Weatherlight, because that's also a card in the set, which I thought was cool, but then they have Wrath, Weatherlight Stalwart. Is still doing well in Dominaria United. Let's see. Do you remember Wrath? Do you remember Wrath? It's been so long, but I think I recognize that name.
That's like Furnace of Wrath. Remember that card from Tempest? It's like from Wrath is the plane where the Flowstone is.
So this is Wrath. So it's
Wrath.
Passion.
Raff.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were singing
a human wizard.
I thought you were saying Wrath, like.
Nope. He's a human wizard on the Weatherlight.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't remember him either too much. But he was in the original Dominaria.
I was just gonna say, I'll read just the card. So he's a 1 blue and white. So it's 2 costs. He's 1/3 legendary creature, human wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control. If you do, draw a card, and then you can tap 2 white and 3 additional, and you don't have to tap it. Creatures you control get 1/1 and gain vigilance till the end of turn.
So if you had 10 mana, you could give them double vigilance. Just kidding. All the nerds are gonna laugh at that one.
Yeah. I like the flavor text though. Yeah, it says this talking about the Weatherlight. This old ship has seen a lot, but she's not done yet. So yeah, and then there's the Weatherlight. But anyways, yeah, so some cool history for this set. But really it's about, the cards. So how many did you end up with, Luke, that and tell me, were the cards that you're going to talk about ones you thought were cool, ones that work in your deck?
I just figured,
mix?
I mean, and you're probably the same, but I figured I can throw these all in commander decks or else make as a new commander. Because I haven't played standard in a while. I don't. If I do, it's usually on arena where I don't have to spend actual money. But
Well,
yeah.
how about you do your first 5, I'll do my first 5. Just instead of going back and forth, it'll make it a little easier. You do 5 cards, and let us know if it's something you have a deck for currently, which most of mine, to be honest, are. But or it's just something you're thinking of a new deck, or gave you an idea for a new deck, or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, the first one is that King Darien the 68th, I think. Oh, by the way, did we say that Matt screwed up the recording again? And so we already talked about all this?
Yeah, we did, and then randomly had a bunch of other very random talk.
Yeah, and then Tyler and AJ made a guest appearance, and then none of that got recorded on Matt's end. So
so this won't make any sense, but we Tyler talked about the Gophers. I think picked them to go like 11-1. Can't remember which bowl.
The Gopher football team. They're talking about the college team.
Yeah, he watched
in Minnesota.
the schedule, and he only could find one loss on their football schedule. But they did win 38-0 since we recorded last time. I think 38-0, something like that. But anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
So because you were trying to figure out the number last time of this card.
So it's XLV 111. So, or is that I? But we came to the conclusion that's 68. And then we made some jokes about adding an extra one and why didn't they? But anyways, yeah, so King Darien the 68th. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. He's a 2/3 for a green, white, and a colorless. And then if you pay 5, and that's 3 colorless, a forest, and a plains, you can put a +1 counter on King Darien and create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. And if you sacrifice him, creature tokens you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Which he'd be perfect. Like, so a while ago I had like a life gain / +1 counter / token deck. But it's like, I think if I narrow it down to just 2 of those, like a token and +1 counters or something, it'd be a little more synergistic. Is that a real word? But so I might
it is now.
I might make him a new commander just because I got a lot of the cards already. Although I already have a token deck with that what is it? The Naya deck from the Cabaretti one from Streets of New Capena. So we'll see if I might just throw him in that deck for now, but then the next card is, Matt won't be surprised at this. It's Bant colors, so green, white, and blue. And it's a lifelink 3/3 Shanna Purifying Blade. And she's a legendary creature, human warrior with lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay X. If you do, draw X cards. X can't be greater than the amount of life you've gained this turn. So, I've still that in with like Helioid and a Johnny and a bunch of life gain stuff, which would be a pretty annoying deck, I'm sure. And then the next card is,
it sounds like one of your staples.
The next card is, this was a big spoiler / like the big spoiler, because a Johnny got completed by the Phyrexians in the storyline. So this card is a Johnny Sleeper Agent, and it's a colorless, a forest, Phyrexian mana, which you can either pay 2 life or a green or white, and then a white. So kind of confusing to people that probably don't play Magic much. But anyways, he's a legendary planeswalker, and his +1 is reveal a top card of your library. If it's a creature or planeswalker card, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it on the bottom of your library, which that gets really good towards, middle to late round of the game, because then you can just throw the lands or, stuff you don't need on the bottom of your library.
Yep.
His -3 is distribute 3 +1 counters among up to 3 target creatures. They gain vigilance until end of turn. And then the -6 is you get an emblem with whenever you cast a creature or planeswalker spell, target opponent gets 2 poison counters. So
Jeez.
yeah, and I don't know. I never liked poison counters, but I don't know. I'm probably not going to play this, I guess. So I'm going to remove this from my list, maybe.
But that one has some really cool art. And if I recall, isn't there a Phyrexian text?
Yeah.
We pulled one of those previously on a podcast, I believe, or something, didn't we?
That was like our very first one. I think we pulled the Vorinclex Phyrexian type or whatever.
But yeah, I took that off my list just because I was going to make sure. I assumed you obviously would have mentioned it. But one thing, and I should mention, I guess, I don't know if Luke, you're looking at this. I had sent you this site, but mythicspoiler.com is where I got all my.
Yeah, I got that up right now. So I'm looking at MTG Goldfish right now because earlier I posted through our Instagram account my top thing 10. So
But,
and so I just got these from here and put them into Goldfish to check them out.
On Mythic Spoiler, it's cool when you kind of scroll down, you have all the basic cards, then you get the full art, and then you have the, what's the other one? The other
Borderless.
Style, I can't think. There's Borderless.
Showcase.
Showcase, that's the one I could. But anyways, it was cool looking, and the Ajani is the one that had multiple just awesome art styles. So
yeah,
anyways,
those are always cool. I haven't pulled any of those, I don't think, but yeah. So anyways, I don't know if I get that. If I put him in a deck, he'd probably be I don't even know. Can you do commanders? Can you do planeswalkers as commanders? Because I know some say they can be your commander.
It says it on the bottom.
So it has to say on the bottom.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way.
Oh, and you had your Gurok, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm a noob when it comes to that too. I always forget the whole, because I don't create them often enough, and then I'll be like, "Oh, that's a really cool card." I did that with this Golgari deck, this black and green deck. One of the cards I wanted to put as the commander, and then realized, or I can't recall, probably Brent or Dylan or Devin pointed out, yeah, that's not legendary. I always forget that.
It's a legendary, but it's just not a creature. So, which that's supposed to be what your commander is.
But either way, I'm just saying, when I create commander decks, those two things, I don't know. I'm just.
I bet they had a laugh at that. Oh man.
Yeah, but it goes with the old school noob thing.
It does,
because we're getting older, forgetting stuff, and you got too much going on to pay attention to those little details. If it says legendary creature, or this planeswalker can be a commander.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I digress.
So the next one is Guardian of New Benelia, which this would just be good. I have that human multi, or what do they call all 5 colors? They call it rainbow deck. Is that what it's called? I don't even know. Is there a name for it? If it's all 5 colors.
We're going to talk about the Painbow deck. That's all I know. Spoiler.
Spoiler alert, Painbow. But anyways, this is for 2 mana, a colorless. So it's a colorless and a plains. Creature, human soldier. And it has enlist, which I think is a new mechanic, right? So enlist is, as this creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning sickness. When you do, add its power to this creature's power until end of turn.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but it's like if you can't do something that has summoning sickness, then it's like you would attack with that other one anyway. But I suppose it makes it harder to block. So
yeah, and then so also that you can, if you don't want that other creature to die for whatever reason, don't want to attack with it. At least you can, get some use out of it, correct?
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then its other abilities are whenever Guardian of New Benelian enlists a creature, you can scry 2, which of course is huge for white because if you're wiped out in your hand in a white deck, usually if you're not going to kill them soon, it's kind of downhill from there. But then its other ability is discard a card. Guardian of New Benelia gains indestructible until end of turn, and then you tap it. So it's a good little. I think that'll be probably in the standard white decks. On the new rotation here is in the aggro white decks. All right, and then the last one would be a sweet, dragon commander or dragon tribal commander deck. So it's Rith, Liberated Primeval. So it's 2 colorless, a mountain, a forest, and a plains. Just always assume there's a plains on all my favorite cards, right?
I was gonna say though, this is perfect because we never cross over because I never use white or blue. And
Well,
I skipped right down on Mythic Spoiler. I just scroll right through the white and blue cards.
I know, and white's always first, so I'm like, oh, perfect. But I'm more of a white and green now lately. When I started, when we used to play way back in the day, it was always white and blue. But all right, anyway, so this is flying Ward 2. And then other dragons you control have Ward 2. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature or planeswalker an opponent controlled was dealt excess damage this turn, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. So obviously that'd be pretty powerful with like, Anointed Procession and Parallel Lives, all those token doublers. And then even that new legendary, I didn't say her yet, but so she'd be my 6th one. What is her name? Let me go.
I was going to cheat anyways and do 6, just so you know. I was going to do my black and green, which is a total of 6.
Oh, all right.
So I'll allow it.
Perfect. So then so it's Queen Elenel of Raudok. She's a forest and 2 plains legendary creature, elf noble, and her power and toughness is equal to the number of creatures you control. And if one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a 1/1 white soldier creature token are created instead. So you just get an extra 1/1 soldier creature. But then she obviously gets pretty big because of, especially if it's in a token deck. So yes, those are my 6.
Have you ever had a dragon deck?
No, I haven't. I don't know if I have many dragons. Usually if I get a dragon, I trade them. Or just sell them.
You mentioned there that card though. I can't recall. You mentioned it does something with dragons, correct?
Yes, it's all dragons. So
so I was thinking you're gonna probably have more dragons, and I was like, wow, I don't know if Luke's ever had a dragon deck.
No, I haven't. I don't think, and I just think it's just a cool creature. Because usually white doesn't have any dragons. So good dragons. There's like Alabaster Dragon. But they always have like these like stupid stipulations where it's like doesn't even worth putting in a deck. But
yeah. All right. Well, now let's get to the good stuff. I'm going to start out with black. So I have my deck. I had to pull it out because again, it's been like a few weeks, but it was my Karth the Lion deck with bringing out all my Guroks. Which I still have in this deck, but I've now turned it into, I still wanted to use my Guroks because I have all of them and I like them. But it now has some sacrifice things to it. I have Savra, Queen of the Golgari, so it's a green, a black, and 2 additional is my commander. And I'm just going to go through it to make more sense for these next few cards. So it's a legendary creature, Elf Shaman. Whenever you sacrifice a black creature, you may pay 2 life. If you do, each other player sacrifices a creature. And whenever you sacrifice a green creature, you may gain 2 life. So, in all, my thoughts were that I was going to be getting a lot of, my Guroks. I'm always creating all these beasts and things, and then I was going to sacrifice them, which I need to get is it a Phyrexian Altar? Where you can tap, and you can sacrifice. I need more sacrifice in this deck, but so the theory is I'm going to have these tokens and sacrifice these beasts and wolves through my Guroks and do all this stuff. I like taking stuff out of the graveyard. It kind of mixes 2 things I like into this one deck. So first is Activated Sleeper. So it's 1 black and 2 additional. And all these have awesome art, by the way. Pretty much all these have full art. I think I pretty much went through the full art and looked at those, and they were the ones I liked anyways. But Activated Sleeper. So it's 1 black, 2 additional. It's a Phyrexian Shapeshifter. Flash, you may have Activated Sleeper enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature card in a graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn, except for it's a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. So I'm doing lots of sacrificing or making people sacrifice, and so this is cool because this can come in as a copy of a card that was put into a graveyard this turn. So that one's pretty sweet. Next is, did you say this one? No, you didn't say Moira Urborg Haunt, correct? No, you wouldn't have said you said something very similar for a minute.
No, that's my grandma, Moira. Just kidding.
So it's one Moira Urbor Haunt. So it's one black, two others. It's a legendary creature, spirit wizard. It's got menace. It's a 3/2. Whenever Moira Urborg Haunt deals combat damage to a player, return to the battlefield target creature card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. So this one is my graveyard. The last one was a graveyard, but either way, I'm totally fine sacrificing stuff and putting into the graveyard. You know, I have different things to bring stuff back, animate dead, you know, things like that. So that was another one, and this has menace. And yeah, so anyways, that was another cool one that could go in this deck that I just mentioned.
I don't know. I will say real quick that Moira isn't that menacing of a name, but anyways.
Yeah. Moira, what is she in Schitt's Creek? Is that Moira?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's where I knew it from. All right.
Yeah, that show was
That's a great show.
I laughed a lot. Anyways, next one is one of my favorite. So this is Evolved Sleeper. So it's just one black. It's a human, a 1/1, and all of these you don't have to tap. It's next 3 abilities. Not that it matters, but so tap 1 black. Evolved Sleeper becomes a human cleric with base power and toughness 2/2. So it starts out as a human. So then it turns into a human cleric. And then if its next is tap 1 black and 1 additional. If Evolved Sleeper is a cleric, put a death touch counter on it, and it becomes a Phyrexian human cleric with base power and toughness 3/3. So it becomes a 3/3 with death touch counter on it. And then also the last one is tap 2 black and 1 additional. If Evolved Sleeper is a Phyrexian, put a 1/1 counter on it, then you draw a card and lose a life. So you can do that multiple times. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I like these Phyrexians just altering things. And anyways,
so
that's
so for 7 mana, if you had it all right away, you could have a 4/4 Death Touch Phyrexian cleric and draw a card
and lose a life.
And
then you can keep doing these things as well. So
I suppose you can keep doing the 3 at the end, right?
Yeah. So
because the other 2 you couldn't. Oh wait, you could bring it back to the 1, just pay 1 and have it become a human cleric again.
Yeah, you can just mess with it all you want, really. I guess if you got the mana.
Anyways,
you were gonna say that's what she said.
I should have. I didn't think of it, but good job.
Oh, okay. I just thought you were going to be more, grown up, and then I went ahead and wrecked it.
Damn it.
So that was Evolved Sleeper, and the next 2 go together. That's why I wanted to go, and it goes into my green. So this is Defiler of Flesh. So it's 2 black and 2 additional. Phyrexian Horror. It's a 4/4 menace. As additional cost to cast black permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. Those spells cost 1 black less to cast if you paid life this way. This effect reduces only the amount of black mana you pay. And then whenever you cast a black permanent spell, target creature you control gets a 1/1, gets 1/1 and gains menace until end of turn.
Yeah, that's a pretty sweet. I will say there is or just a note that there's all 5 colors have a Defiler of something.
Yeah, so I was going to the next, because it fits with this as well, is Defiler of Vigor. So again, this is the Golgari black and green deck for me. So both these, I was like, oh, these are kind of cool, because Defiler of Vigor is 2 green and 3, a Phyrexian Worm. It's a 6/6. And again, you can do that same thing, whereas an additional cost to cast a green permanent spell, you may pay 2 life. Those spells cost 1 green less to cast if you paid life this way, and it only reduces green mana you pay, and then when you cast a green permanent, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Oh, this time it's a green 1/1 counter, so that's different than the last. But so yeah, the Defiler cards.
Might as well just go through the white one and the blue and red. So the white one is Defiler of Faith, which is 3 colorless and 2 planes. Has Vigilance and then as an additional cost to cast white permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. Those spells cost 1 planes less to cast if you paid life this way. This effect reduces only amount of white mana to pay. And then whenever you cast a white permanent spell, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. So another token generator
cool.
for the white decks. And then the other one is what? Defiler of Dreams. That's the blue one. So that has the same pay 2 life blue.
Yep.
And then it's whenever you cast a blue permanent spell, draw a card. It has flying. It's a 4/3. And then it's a 3 colorless and 2 blue.
Yeah, so those are all. I like how they each, obviously, go towards, 1/1 creatures for the white, and those are cool.
So and then the last one, might as well do the red. That's
yeah.
Defiler of Instinct, which is 2 colorless and 2 red. First strike. Then of course it has that same pay 2 life, blah blah. And whenever you cast a red permanent spell, Defiler of Instinct deals 1 damage to any target. And that's a Phyrexian Kavu.
Kavu, yeah.
The good old Kavu.
So there's Kavu, but this is just, I have a couple more to go, but I'm just going to mention, I also do like finally the kobolds feel like a thing. So
are they back, or are you thinking of Kavus?
Nope. I'll get to those in my next ones, but I'm going to finish my last two, my last green one here. Before I'll hand it back to you. So this is Kyrion Beast Collar to go with the beast in this. It's sweet art. It's 1 green and 1 additional. It's a 2/2 Dryad Warrior. And whenever you cast a creature spell, put a 1/1 counter on Kyrion Beast Collar. And when Kyrion Beast Collar dies, distribute X 1/1 counters among any number of target creatures you control, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on Kyrion Beast Collar. So thought that also would work well in the deck, and just fits in the theme of everything with my beast in Gurok. Yeah, I'm going to hand it back to you. I'm guessing we're going to be seeing some more white and blue and green.
Well, another one that I had was Joda the Unifier, which is all 5 colors. Is his casting cost, and then he's a legendary creature, human wizard. Legendary creatures you control get +X/+X, where X is the number of legendary creatures you control. Which I just made a legendary human deck, the all 5 colors one. So this, maybe I'll switch him out for the Sisse as commander. But also, his other thing is whenever you cast a legendary spell from your hand, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a legendary non-land card with the lesser mana value. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So that'd be a fun 5-color deck.
Well, and so I don't know enough about I didn't dive too far into it, but again, coming up, we're going to talk about the commander decks, and the mentioned earlier Painbow deck is a 5-color deck. So we'll be talking about that. So wondering how that fits in, or if it's even in it, I guess, in the deck. But next.
So yeah, I think you said earlier they made the Weatherlight again. So another spoiler is the Weatherlight got completed by the Phyrexians, which I don't even know how I should actually read that whole story they have. But it's a legendary artifact vehicle. It's 2 mana. And then it has flying as long as Weatherlight completed has 4 or more Phyresis counters on it. It's a Phyrexian creature in addition to its other types. And then whenever a creature you control dies, put a Phyresis counter on it. On Weatherlight completed, then draw a card if it has 7 or more Phyresis counters on it. If it doesn't, scry 1. So, and that's a 5/5.
I was going to tell you to just say P counters, but then that would just sound. Then I realized how that would sound.
PP counters.
I do want to read the story now. I mean, it's after reading at the very beginning of this, when I read that blurb, that was right away. I was like, man, I kind of want to read, some of these recent, stories of the recent sets we've been playing. Now that we've been back into it more again, I would love to read this last how many years of story.
Well, and they don't have actual novels anymore. It's just, I think, blogs or whatever.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
Or I was going to Amazon it and see if there's.
I mean, I don't think
new
there's. I
books.
think they just on the Wizards, Magic site. They just have like story time with people. I don't know who writes them, but yeah, I'm curious. I'll have to go read one.
Man, I wish. I mean, it just seems like unless the plan is again something we're going to talk about more is they keep coming out with more Boom Studios.
Yeah.
Comics. Are they going to end up moving the? Because I mean, I would, to be honest. I mean, books. I'd rather have a book, I guess. But it would be awesome to have all this story through comic as well.
Yeah. So then my last one I'm going to say is Zur. Remember Zur the Enchanter? He was a pretty common commander way back when. I think he actually got banned for a little bit, if I remember correctly. But so when I first started playing Magic again, I played MTG Online, which is different from Magic Arena, But the first commander deck I played when I learned out or found out what commander was, I made a Zur deck. But there's a new creature card of Zur called Zur Eternal Schemer. And so he's white, blue, and black. So 3 mana. And then he's a 1/4 flyer. Enchantment creatures you control have Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof. And if you pay a colorless and a plains target non-aura enchantment you control becomes a creature in addition to its other types and has base power and base toughness equal to its mana value. So that'd be a fun commander to make too.
Yeah. And the rest of mine are, let's see, I just want to check. I've got a couple red and then red and black. So I had to, when you were saying I had to go back because it's been a bit. I couldn't remember which commander. I'm still using Prosper Tomebound. But this has lots of dragons in it. So we're talking about dragons. So I have some of those. So these cards coming up, I was thinking about for that deck. And then, like you mentioned, maybe another deck in the future. So first is the Reaver Cleaver, which is 1 red and 2. It's a legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets 1/1 and has trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or a planeswalker, create that many treasure tokens, and then it's equipped 3. So I like my treasure tokens, and Prosper does too. So with my dragons, giving them 1/1 and trample, when a lot of times they get through anyways, and then creating that many treasure tokens would be amazing for this deck. So that's the first one. Next is Runvelt Hordemaster. So a goblin. Got to find the goblins in the deck. There was a couple of them. This is one I had found that would definitely be one I would use. Other goblin. So it's 1 red and 1 additional goblin warrior. It's a 1/1. Other goblins you control get 1/1, and whenever Runvelt Hordemaster or another goblin you control dies, exile the top card of your library. If it's a goblin creature card, you may cast that card until the end of your next turn. So that's a pretty sweet ability for my goblin deck, and gotta have a goblin. And there's also, I realized I don't have a Squee, but
he gets an honorable mention regardless, because.
Yeah, Luke, as I'm reading my last couple, Luke, you should pull up Squee, because I realized I think I did have him up when through no fault of my own we didn't get the last recording, but I don't have him up now. So next is Bladewing, Deathless Tyrant. Luke, Bladewing is that from yesteryear or in the stories? I remember a big dragon, that the was that Bladewing?
I'm checking right now. It looks like it's from past Magic sets, because it's in an old Commander set.
Because there's Bladewing the Risen, I believe I have, and that gives dragons 1/1. I have that in this deck. Anyway, so I was just curious where it fit in the story, because it just was very familiar. Bladewing, Deathless Tyrant, 1 red, 1 black, 5 additional. It's a legendary creature, Dragon Skeleton. It's a 6/6 flying haste. Whenever Bladewing Deathless Tyrant deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, for each creature card in your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie knight creature token with menace. So this is the deck I'm talking about. My Prosper is a black and red deck with dragons. So yeah, that's definitely one I would use in that deck. And then lastly, you know, I just like these type of creatures, and they work with dragons, which I do like. And so this is Roga, Care Keep Overlord. It's 1 red, 1 black, and 3 additional. It's a legendary creature, a kobold warrior. So we were just talking about this, Luke. So other kobolds you control get +2/+2. Whenever you cast a kobold spell, you may pay 2, just 2 colors. If you do, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. Whenever you cast a dragon spell, create a 0/1 red kobold creature token named Kobold of Kur Keep. So, yeah, that's a pretty fun card just right there, and fits in with dragons. So, kobolds and dragons.
I'm trying to see if there's any other kobolds even, or do you just rely on him making the kobolds?
No, there's a couple in this setting.
Is there?
And,
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. But yes, and what is I have it at 1 second. Do you recall, Luke? Ragraka, son of Roga. One of my favorite cards that I never know how to use it. Once I read it, so it's Rogue. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's Rograkh. Rogue Rock. I don't know. Son of Raga. So this is Raga. So this is the one where it's 0 cost to get out.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a legendary creature, Kobold Warrior. I mean, this is one, you know, it's been used a lot for other things. And first strike, menace, trample. It's a 0/1 and it has partner. So you can partner it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a Kobold Warrior. Other kobolds get +2/+2. And there's other ones in this deck. So it's one I'm definitely thinking about along with my dragons. So that, if any of them, would be a new deck I would maybe create beyond the commander decks. So, you finish your list?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
There's obviously a bunch of them, but
yeah, no, there's more I could have picked. Did you pull up Squee at all? I don't know if we should read Squee.
He well, and then I lost him, but I'm just on MTG Goldfish scrolling through. Squee, Dubious Monarch. He's a 2 colorless and a mountain legendary creature, Goblin Noble. And he has haste. Whenever Squee, Dubious Monarch attacks, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. And you may cast Squee, Dubious Monarch from your graveyard by paying 3 colorless and a red, and exiling 4 other cards from your graveyard rather than paying its mana cost. So, I don't know, kind of not very... I don't know, the thing with Squeeze, you can just keep casting them. That's kind of his ability through the Magic years.
And to be honest, I'll just use them because I like all the cool goblins, so
yeah,
I will put Squee
the haste is pretty
well.
good, and it'd be better if it was like 2 mana. Although it might be a little powerful, but like 3 mana for a goblin for a 2/2, but you do get the 1 attacking, so.
And the more goblins, the merrier.
Yeah.
You know, so the next was, we just mentioned the commander decks. We've already said Painbow like 5 times, but I'm gonna start with this is from draftsim.com, and I thought this was a cool kind of brought a couple things together. It says Dominaria United commander decks, are they worth it? So it goes way more into it. I'm not gonna, anyways, it was again draftsim.com, so to read the whole thing, but it talks about what are the commander decks, and then the first one is Legends Legacy. Luke, do you have the sets up?
Yes, I will say right now, MTG Goldfish has this deck priced out at $175. So if you do ever see them, I'm guessing they're going to be what, $50 or $60?
Yeah,
probably worth it to pick them up.
Yeah, and so that's what this had too. They had the prices, and one of them was like around the 170, and the other was over 200, I think. This commander though, has a lot of text. So it's Dihada, Binder of Wills. It's a black, a white, and a red, and one additional. Does that have a name, Luke? I'm not good with like what the different colors, like black,
That's
green, is
Mardu.
Golgari. Mardu?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a legendary planeswalker. And so, Luke, at the bottom, it has Dihada, Binder of Wills, can be your commander. And so it's +2, up to one target legendary creature gains vigilance, lifelink, and indestructible until your next turn. -3, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put any number of legendary cards from among them into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. Create a treasure token for each card put into your graveyard this way. And then it's ultimate -11, gain control of all non-land permanents until end of turn. Untap them, they gain haste until end of turn. All non-land.
And her starting loyalty is 5.
Yeah. And then it gets +2, so you can get to that fairly quickly.
The ultimate.
Yeah. But so I just wanted to read, again, this is from draftsim.com. Hey, I just got to write it there. Is a Mardu deck led by Dihada, Binder of Wills. And then, Luke, do you have it there? Shanid, Sleeper's Scourge is a great alternative commander.
No, I'm just on MTG Goldfish, so I'm not on the same one as you. Yeah, usually in all these, they put in like that alternate, or like the alternate commander. But yeah, it's Shanid, Sleeper's Scourge. You're saying you want me to read it?
Yeah. So on my site, it just shows the back of the card.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so this is one colorless, a red, white, and a black, and it's a legendary creature, human knight, and it has menace. Other legendary creatures you control have menace. Whenever you play a legendary land or cast a legendary spell, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Man, maybe that could be my new legendary commander. Just kidding.
Yeah,
that's only 3 colors, so probably not, but it's a sweet card, especially with that card draw.
Yeah, and so it says this deck focuses heavily on legendary permanents. With game plan straightforward, make an army of legendary creatures and use anthem effects like Day of Destiny, which is a white and 3 additional legendary creatures you control get +2/+2. And Heroes Podium to make them unstoppable. Heroes Podium is 5. Each legend. My screen went crazy. All right. Heroes Podium. So it's 5. It's a legendary artifact. Each legendary creature you control gets 1/1 for each other legendary creature you control. And then it's X. And tap it. Look at the top X cards of your library. You may reveal a legendary creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It's a combat-centric focused deck on attack triggers, ways to grow your creatures in combat. Anyway, so that's from Draft Sim, so I thought they had a good little blurb just about what it's about. Luke, your thoughts on what is it called again? Legends Legacy.
Like I said, yeah, they have it quoted out at $175. So, but there's some pretty awesome cards, and I was just looking through them, and I didn't realize this card existed. But it's Gerard's Hourglass Pendant. It's a legendary artifact for 1 mana, and it has flash. And its first thing, its first text is, if a player would begin an extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. So that would be, I got to get that card, because there's nothing worse than someone taking, an extra turn with, what is that, Alrund's Epiphany. I've bitched about that card before. Yeah. But yeah, it has Reaver Cleaver in it. It has Shizo Death Storehouse, which is a legendary land, and you can either add a swamp or else tap a swamp and tap the land, or pay a swamp and tap that land. Target legendary creature gains fear until end of turn. So it can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or black creatures. But that's a $18 card. So yeah, it looks pretty sweet.
So, well, then next coming up, we've talked, just at least said the name, just because Painbow. And this is a 5-color deck led by Jared Calthalion.
I'm gonna start a metal band, and I'm gonna name it Painbow.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Painbow. So we have Jared Cathalion. It's one of every color. Legendary Planeswalker. Its +1 is create a 3/3 Kavu creature token with trample that's all colors. -3, choose up to 2 target creatures. For each of them, put a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the number of colors it is. And then -6, return target multicolored card from your graveyard to your hand. If that card was all colors, draw a card and create 2 treasure tokens. Again, I'm from draftsim.com. I liked how they just kind of worded these just to give a quick little synopsis. Saying it's an entirely different beast. It's multicolored cards, specifically 5-color spells is kind of what it's focused on. Led by Jared Cathalion, as we said, with Jensen Carthalion, Druid Exile is a great substitute commander.
Let's see what
Luke,
that one is.
Yeah, as I say again, ask is on mine for whatever reason. It works with the first card, but the second shows the back of the card.
This one is just 1 forest and 1 plains. And it's a legendary creature, human druid. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, scry 1. If that spell was all colors, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. And you can pay 5 colorless to add 1 of each of the 5 colors. And it's a 2/2.
Nice.
So that's pretty
all
sweet.
Right. And and then so the kind of says either way, you want to get all 5 colors as soon as possible and overwhelm your opponents with splashing multicolored finishers. Less on this deck focuses less on aggression and more on ramp, mana fixing, and late game threats, all while casting a few devastating sweepers to hinder your opponents.
Some of those late game devastators are like 2-headed Hellkite, which is 1 colorless and then all 5 colors. It's a flying menace haste dragon, and whenever it attacks, you can draw 2 cards. It's a 5/5. So yeah, there's some beefy dragons and angels and
Primeval Spawn.
Oh yeah, that card's
5, 1 of each color and 5 additional. It's a 10/10. I'm not going to go through the rest, but yeah, so 5 colors. That's so. After hearing those, Luke, I'm curious. I kind of think I know already, especially after you found a couple other cards as we were talking. But which of those 2 decks, which will you buy for play wise?
Well, I probably won't be able to afford them, but because I'm guessing they won't be the normal like $45 or $50, right? I don't know. Maybe they are, but there just seems like a lot. I don't know. I like the Painbow one.
Yeah, you can go right now, Luke. Go on Amazon. I'm looking at Painbow. You can pre-order. It'll deliver Tuesday the 13th for $41.98.
There you go, everyone. Go invest in Magic the Gathering cardboard cards.
You can. I think you'll still get it. Just knowing. It was the same thing when I had the store. The decks. It'll be probably around 45 to 50, and the reason they add a little bit more is because you get those 2 additional packs, you get the pack with it that has how many cards are in those little boosters?
14 or something.
No, you get a collector booster sample pack where you get
box
like 2 or 3
or whatever.
cards. Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 in there, and you can pull good cards. It's still a mini collector's pack that you get with the commander deck too. So along with that, the price of all those cards, you have the chance of pulling, an awesome card in that pack. So it'll be around that $45 to $50 price range still, depending on where you get it.
Nice. Well, yeah, no, I think the Painbow one would be fun to play just because it's all the colors.
Well, I thought you were going to say the opposite, just because you found a few cards in that previous deck, and it seemed more your style.
Yeah, maybe just for that Gerard's Hourglass pendant. Maybe I'll get that one.
So this, I actually was thinking the same thing because I don't think I've done a 5-color deck. If I have, it's been a long time. Probably back to like Slivers or something way back when, because I did have a Sliver deck and like the Sliver Queen or one of them. Anyways, I think I would also go with Painbow. But after we read that other one too, I'm like, I could see getting both these because there's some cool cards.
Yeah, it'd be fun to play them against each other because they have, it's got a lot of big bombs in them. So
I'm curious though, because I'm pretty sure I said I would have chosen Painbow when we recorded last time, when through no fault of my own, the recording, got lost. I'm pretty sure you said you'd have picked Legends Legacy.
Maybe I've
What's
changed. Maybe I've matured.
But either way, yeah, they're both cool, and I think I'm gonna probably, when I can invest in both of them, just because when there's two of them, might as well. Sometimes there's like five, and it's like, oh, I'd love to have them all, but
well, and if you say invest, it makes sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, true. So the last thing, Magic wise, I guess before we were talking about a Magic comic, because I just wanted to bring up the next couple sets. And so I'm on dicebreaker.com. I just pulled up, we have Brothers War coming up. Oh, before, Luke, you just mentioned Gerard. Did we talk about this? I think we talked about before recording. You had said you wished there was a Gerard card. I was going to bring this up. And then you mentioned there was a Gerard's something.
Oh, like he came out in one of the Commander sets a while ago. He was a white and red legendary. And he was also in the Apocalypse set way back when. But he's like, anyways, there's a couple cards of him.
But there was a card, though, in this set, though, that you read that you thought was cool. That was Gerard's something.
Yeah, Hour's Pendant.
Or
Hourglass.
So is that referring to... That's obviously referring to Gerard, who you mentioned. Yeah. You wish there was a... Yeah. Okay. I just thought of that because I'm talking about Brothers War, because these are all kind of going back to the good old days, at least for us in the story, because the next set, Q4 2022, I'm guessing this has probably been updated. It says around November. This is the final standard Magic set of 2022. And it has us revisiting a pivotal moment in Dominaria's history, the Great War between Urza and Mishra. It's a battle that's mentioned in many places in the game's lore, but this will be the first time we'll get a proper look at the war since antiquities in a few books that cover the event. I'm pretty excited about that one. I think this one, we mentioned that right away, like how long ago both of us were excited for this Dominaria set and then the Brothers War, so I still am in the same boat.
Yeah, this one looks sweet. Did it say they're gonna do some books again? Or what did it say about that?
Oh no, it just said it's the whole battle, this story is mentioned in some books.
Yeah, so those are the ones that I've read. They're really good books, by the way, if you haven't read them.
This says other Magic releases outside of the standard. Let's see. Secret Layers, a Street Fighter and Fortnite. I don't know when those are, but Commander Collection Black. That's January. So, man, there's not a lot. We finally have I think it's nice at times to have a little reprieve in between some of the...
I know, yeah. It's like sets. September. This one just came, or, comes out 9th, and then like a month later, Brothers War comes out.
The next. Yeah. So, all right. So that's all for Magic, and we're going to talk a little bit more Magic with the next episode. We're going to split this up again, just because it's Labor Day weekend. Kids are literally at Luke's door. I think I heard wanting to go to the park. Yep. So we're going to split up. We'll talk about Magic from Boom Studios, a new #1 announcement. I've got some other Image comics I want to talk about that are coming out, some Boom Studios, and even a Dark Horse. If we get to it, depending on the recording time, we'll also talk Magic. I think it's 13 and 14 from Boom Studios.
Also the Lord of the Rings. The Power of the Rings, or 5 Powers, or whatever it's called on Amazon. I watched the first episode of that.
Yeah, and I got lots more too for games and TV to talk. So that'll be a whole separate episode. Will be comics, games, and
TV shows,
TV/movies/ whatever. So until next time, go play some games.